This is Melissa Wagenhofer, Week 3, Video Journal. In thinking about my fieldwork intervention assignment, the area that I will intervene in is communication and language. The student that is the communication and language intervention is, or will be designed for, is a male student with autism spectrum disorder, who will be referred to as Student A for privacy purposes. Student A is a 7-year-old male in the 1st grade. Student A has some verbal skills, but it is very limited, and at times when he tries to communicate, he becomes frustrated, acts out, or sometimes cries. Examples of his behaviors and abilities are as follows. Student A exhibits echolalia, which is a pathological repetition of what is said by other people, as if echoing them. Student A is unable to independently communicate in a social situation because he repeats what is said to him. When another student takes a toy or plays with a toy that student A wants or has, he chatters, shakes his fist, and eventually begins to cry. When an adult intervenes and provides necessary language, student A will repeat. Student A is unable to independently express his feelings when the toy is taken from him by another student, nor is he able to independently express his wants if it is a toy that he would like to play with. When at school lunch, staff asks student A what he would like, and he repeats, "What would you like?" When given the name of each choice, student A again repeats what was said to him. When presented with 2 physical choices, student A will randomly choose one and put it on his plate. Student A will then sit at the lunch table and eat, not speaking to anyone. When on the playground, student A does not independently socialize with his peers. Student A plays side by side with his peers, but there is no verbal communication. He does not initiate conversation, nor is he able to independently respond to peer communication. When student A is upset, he cries and shakes his fists. When staff intervene and ask what his troubles are, he points and cries. Now, student A does have verbal abilities. Student A is able to articulate words and the spoken language. However, student A does not independently or spontaneously use it. These abilities have been observed, heard, and recorded through data collection so that staff, the individual education plan team, can discuss and decide on an intervention that would or can benefit student A and his unique needs. Student A is able to repeat words that is said to him or heard with clarity. However, student A does not initiate communication or speak about his own personal needs and wants. So when student A is in a situation where he needs to use language to communicate, staff or family must provide him with the words needed to communicate. Parents simply want student A to be able to communicate his needs and wants independently one day. Speech and language pathologists have high hopes that student A has the capability to communicate independently. Speech and language and staff simply think that student A is still immature in learning language, so his outlook is positive as long as the intervention chosen promotes student A's independence, it is user-friendly, which is understandable for him, and reinforced across the board, used with fidelity. After completing and participating in student A's most recent meeting, IEP meeting, I have chosen to use an assistive technology application to better help student A communicate his needs and wants. The team and I have chosen to intervene with Proloco 2 Go, which is an iPad application. Mind you, we, the IEP team and myself, have previously piloted this AT with student A, so he is familiar with its use, knows how to use it, and it is used within the classroom. We, the IEP team and myself, have discussed this intervention with family, his parents, and family is excited to learn about the AT, its use, and pray that there is growth within student A after its implementation. The way that I plan and ensure fidelity of its implementation is to train all classroom staff and family on how to use, when to use, and how to promote AT use with student A. I will collect data, track its use, and collaborate with staff, IEP members, and family to ensure that the AT is being used whenever possible to promote communication for student A. Staff and family will no longer provide necessary language for student A, but instead refer to his AT device, modeling its use and providing language through it. Student A has been using the AT since around March 28th. Student A uses his AT at school throughout the day, in all settings, on the bus, and at home throughout the day in all settings. There has not yet been any significant growth outside of student A using the AT. Observation, data tracking, assessment, and positive reinforcement will continue. All parties involved are optimistic and excited for student A and his communication abilities, and I look forward to seeing growth.